starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, No Maniacs, welcome to the show. This is Nomad at Night. I am your host, Nomad, and I got the homies with me tonight, man, and we about to chop it the F up tonight because got a chance to look at the tape, and the tape looks even better than the game. Watched it 3 times, probably watch individual players more time than I care to share with you guys because I'm a junkie like that, and I just do that kind of stuff. So that being said, man, again, welcome to the show. It's a lot to talk about. So why did we go with, and thanks to the dude behind the scenes, man, for the thumbnail. But why did I go? You see every podcast now out there right now, and the ones last night, emphasizing Caleb Williams, which he deserves, right? Absolutely deserves it because he balled his ass off for a rookie on his first NFL action. But the guy that's not getting enough love, I had to make sure we gave him some love on this thumbnail and said, beware of dog. Because I meant every damn word of that absolute dog on the film, man. And it was impressive. Probably as impressive or more so than what we saw out of Caleb. But, you know, I'm here and I'm happy about it all. But I had to make sure that he got a personal standout thumbnail that featured what I saw on film. And again, thanks to the dude for hooking that up for us, man. But hey, man, we're gonna get into the whole thing. But right away, we got to talk about they made a signing. But before we get to all that, I'm gonna pass it to the Canuck. We're gonna go around the horn for everybody to give out pleasantries. But we made a signing and we cut a guy. But we'll get to that after kids and everybody give out a few pleasantries right quick. So handing it off to kids.
What it do, No Maniacs? Sunday after an awesome preseason game 1. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of the game. Bears win. I think I'm going to be saying that a lot this season. In any event, giving a little bit of love back to y'all. Mr. Mayhem just joined us. What it do, Mr. Mayhem? Ant Moss is out there. AC Adam, FFG Style just joined us. We've got the minister with us. What it do, sir? How are you? B Shep 23 is holding it down with us. Nick Albright, the Nodge is an OG. He's a super no maniac. Welcome to the membership, my friend. Big props to you. Black Diamond's rolling with us too. Yo, man, we got a lot to talk about. I'll throw it down to my homie Triple R joining us here.
Quick shout out to Eric Stewart. I don't know if I've seen him in the chat before. May have, but quick shout out to Eric Stewart. Welcome to the neighborhood, man. Glad to see you out there. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Big up to the panel, the esteemed gentlemen and scallywags. They know who they are. Don't need to tell nobody. What up to all the no maniacs out there? It's always, coming home when I'm up in here. So I got my feet up, draws off, all that good stuff. Don't even worry about it. So the power opposed compels you. We got some stuff to talk about tonight, this morning, wherever you at, whenever you're watching. For the people that watch later on, hey, how you doing too? See. So we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna pass the mic and the baton, if you will, to Mr. B.
Hey, No Maniacs! Welcome to another Sunday night with the Nomad and crew. It should be fun, interesting. A few minutes ago, I realized Trip was going to be here, and that is always a hoot. Guys, I hope you've had a great weekend so far, and if you have, we're going to try to extend that. Take it away, Nomad.
Well, real quick, let me get some house cleaning out of the way, man, and make sure everybody knows that we are open to membership right now, and we only ask for $4.99 a month. What is it good for? $5 a month. Number one, it's going to help us a long ways. The more and more people become members, the things you're going to get from it, you're going to get some discounts on merchandise. You're going to get extra content. You're also going to get an opportunity to help And I think that's the most important thing. It's going to be perks that come along with that membership along the way as we grow and keep building those memberships. We'll be able to add more and more perks to it because we can afford to do it. And, it is just us trying to build this channel. This is what I do full time. I've used my savings in order to keep this thing going this year and some change that we've been out here. And, and it's just nice knowing that we've built a great enough community that will give it back to us and help us move this thing along and grow this channel out and have it be what you want it to be. And, one of the things I noticed as far as the perks go, one of the things that's different about us and, your average channel, on your average, a podcast will probably last you normally about an hour, right? Your average podcaster, I am nobody to, be speculating on anybody's intentions, but I noticed ourselves that when we did an hour podcast, you get to 1,000 views faster for whatever reason. It's worth that to some people. People, you do your podcast as long as you want to, but I prided myself, and after reflection, I felt like, and I believe Kez, Trips, and Brian will tell you that we feed into the people that's a part of the community. We can kind of sense, how much people have to say, how much people have on their minds. An hour just really isn't enough, and so we really pride ourselves in giving you extra content, and for that reason alone, I believe that's worth a little bit. You know what I mean? Because we do really pour into you guys because you guys pour back into us. So, but those couple of reasons, man, please, if you have the means, $4.99 a month, man, it would definitely help us along. We got our first moderator in the Nod. You see the wrench on him. We'll add those people along as we go along too. Plank's got one, but I believe he's under the weather. So shout out to Plank, man. Get well fast, man.
Yeah, take care, Plank.
Also, King Booker World, if you're in here, I attempted to give you a wrench, and so you could become a moderator. But for whatever reason, when I went to add you, it just wouldn't. I don't know. It just wouldn't show you as somebody that I could. I don't know what that is, but I'll go back in and try to figure that out. One way or another, we're gonna get you a wrench, man. But that being said, let's get into some content, man. Because let's get into we made a move, man. So we made a move. So we signed Demetric Felton last week, running back, signed him to a year contract, right? And okay, a lot of people were wondering, like, what is that all about, right? And so I felt like, and I think we found out this week. I think they signed him as a body because I think Roshan was down. So if you notice, Roshan didn't play this week. We needed a camp body in there last week, and he filled that void. And so when they cut him today, and they went out and signed a D tackle by the name of, let me making sure. Let me see my notes here. Son of a gun, where is it at? Hold on. Okay, Jaylen Hutchings. D tackle out of Texas Tech, UDFA. He a lot of people projected him to go in the 4th or 5th round in the draft, but he had a torn meniscus, and he that probably cost him his draft status. And so he's fully healed. He's back on track, and he went in for some tryouts with I think 2 or 3 other guys, and he beat those guys out and got the contract. And so what do I think of him? I think on tape, we're looking at kids. If you can remember, man, we did in the offseason quite a few times mention that we needed a body behind Andrew Billings. Why? To give Zach Pickens more opportunities at 3 tech. And I believe that's what this is about. Don't know if he's going to stay. I'll talk a little bit more about what I think his features are and what he can bring to the table. But that was something I've been thinking about this entire camp. What are they going to do? We need a solid big body behind Andrew Billings. And I don't think Zach Pickens is – I think you're wasting Zach Pickens for the most part if that's all you're having him do. And he's not getting those reps at 3 tech like he did this previous preseason game. So that was a welcome signing. I'm glad they made it. I don't know if they're done with that, but I like what I saw on tape, kids, and I'll just say that and pass it on to you.
All right, I haven't had the chance to take a peek at him. I have no idea why they would look at D tackle right now. I think Yeah, but I'm not sure if I don't. I'm liking the development of this line. It's just where my head is. I think the line's actually developing, and we're seeing it. Zach Pickens wasn't too bad there yesterday. He wasn't. He got a sack. He could be better. Be a little bit more consistent, but he got a sack. Jervon's getting better as he goes. But I'm kind of taking what Barlissimo's saying. Barlissimo's had the chance to look at him, and he's saying he's kind of like Travis Bell from last year.
Well, okay, I respect Barlissimo. I have looked at the tape, and be quite honest with you, I think they need a big body at zero tech, somebody to back up Andrew Billings. The purpose being, and so that you don't have to spend all year with Zach Pickens at that spot to back up Andrew Billings. You can use him in there in spells, but I think he's a nice complement to what we have going on already. And to me, I think it's a good sign. Hopefully, I respect what Barlissimo has to say too, but I see that being a void on the team. We don't have a real qualified one tech, and he kind of fits the Andrew Billings mold. If you look at him long enough, you see a whole lot of Andrew Billings in his game.
Did Randolph get any snaps?
Yeah, that might be why he got signed. Maybe they thought a little bit more of Randolph. Maybe they're not getting enough out of him.
Is Randolph hurt? Anybody know if he's injured right now?
I have no idea. I don't remember seeing him on tape. Not this week.
I don't think I saw him last week either, to be quite frank with you. I swear he's hurt. I think he's hurt.
See, that's what I can't. I know it's like sports radio and you got to analyze everything, but some shit we just don't know. And we won't know because we're not in the building. And it could be anything from, this kid just ain't practicing like we want him to. This kid just ain't retaining him like he wanted to. This kid wants to go home because he doesn't love football anymore. This kid did something to the coach's wife that we didn't want him to do. We don't know what's going on with the personality-wise on the team. So if the lower end of the roster guys are dropping off, I ain't tripping. But now, if the starters or something, I want to know what's going on because inquiring mind want to know. But the lower end guys, and we want to bolster the trenches. And this is a big body guy, somebody who was a 5-year starter on his college team. One of those diamonds in the rough who's out there hungry, didn't get drafted. Is like, I was injured. In my senior year, I couldn't perform. I want a chance. He's hungry. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what he's got. Where they fit that's something that we definitely got to leave to the coaches, because in looking at some of the other tape from the weekend and the way that they move him around, whereas you got the big fat guy in the middle to set that anchor, and eat that double team, you want those bodies, but then I think they want to be more versatile than just that. And that's where Pickens comes into play, because he can eat those double teams, whereas he can also loop around and be quick enough to, come from the ends, so that they got the confusion and the ability to just confuse offensive line and get to the quarterback with whatever stunts they want to run. So those little nuances, it's like it's fun to speculate on. It's kind of like, whatever. Let's see who we got and who don't we got no more of. It's not knowing it. Good luck with that.
My thing is, I'm going to be coming from left field on this and stir the pot a little bit. I think as far as the guy that they signed, that Hutchings, he was also on that Fellman's freak list. I think getting him, I'm hoping anyway, that Ryan Pace I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Brain fart. Sorry. Ryan Poles that he's being methodical and slowly developing the defensive line. Uh, with how Austin Booker and Daniel Hardy has been playing the end, both of them, that motor's nonstop. Uh, with the deep tackles, I think they're trying to solidify that as much as they can. Byron Coward played great last week. Pickens did better this week. Those guys are just about neck and neck. You know that you got Dexter as your starter. You know you got Billings. Who is going to be backing up Billings? Hopefully, this kid that they signed, Hutchinson, he can be in there. Randolph, I don't remember playing yesterday. Very little last week. The other guy that I can't pronounce, he's out of the pool. Dunford or whatever his name is. I think they want to build that up. And because of the running backs being strong, you had two guys that showed up, and Velus Jones, I think him being running back, that's probably his best position. And then that Wheeler, that could make Herbert, if they want to make a trade to get that last defensive end. This is what I mean by stirring the pot. I'm just guessing here. I don't have any inside information.
Stir on, brother, stir on.
But also because Matt Pryor, who I was very happy, and me and Burley Smo talked a little bit on Twitter, very happy that they got him. He's a solid bench guy that can play 4 offensive line. So you got Borum, you have Khalil Herbert, and I wouldn't be surprised, Bajent, any kind of trade bait, plus 2 number 1 picks to get a stud defensive end on the opposite side of Sweat. That's my 2 cents. Take it away, Nomad.
Let me circle back around to that individual, Jaylen Hutchings, and where I think I'm just going to reiterate kind of what I said and add a little bit. And you know why I'm mostly happy with this pickup. For one, at most I think Barlissimo is right. He's a practice squad guy. Hopefully we can keep him around in case Billing gets add him to the squad that Sunday if something happens to Billing. Let me knock on wood. And we got a qualified backup, and that's what you need. Instead of having Zach Pickens play the zero tech all the time, I don't think you're seeing the best of Zach Pickens having him play zero tech. Him playing 3 tech flashed like a motherfucker. If you look at it on tape, I mean, it really flashed. And so that's what you thought you were getting in Zach Pickens. You start to see a little bit of that emerge in this. If you watch that game on film, you saw Zach Pickens pop out a whole lot more because he's a little bit more free, playing at 3 tech between the tackle and guard. So, I'm really happy for him getting those reps because he seemed to have none going into last year's season. He was getting all 1 tech, 0 tech reps, and that playing that nose guard. I mean, he's got the body type to be able to absorb it, but I don't think he flourishes at that role. And I've been saying all off season, we need a guy that's what he does. Did somebody turn on something? What's going on? I'm hearing some kind of somebody turn on a fan or something.
That could be me. Give me a minute, Nomad. I'll shut it off.
All right. Yeah, but I think I'm happier for Zach Pickens and him getting the opportunity to play at his natural position than anything else. And I think that's what I'm talking about and more excited about is him getting reps outside of zero tech. That's what I'm getting at, Chris. Kid, you muted.
My bad. We good now, though. Hopefully we figure things out. Anyways, yeah, I see where you come from. I was looking at Do It All 36's post, and he's saying that the Bears held workouts for 4 defensive linemen and signed Jaylen Hutchings. The other 3 were defensive ends. Hutchings, according to Draft Buzz, runs a 4.7 40 and he's at 305 pounds, which is kind
played
of
some running back too.
Say what now?
Played some running back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300-pound running back.
All right. So we got the refrigerator Perry in the building. That's pretty cool.
Dual purpose piece, man.
I ain't complaining. They'll do what they got to do. If they found a diamond out there in the world, man, clean that baby up, put it in a ring, put him in the ring. I'm right there with it. So I unfortunately I haven't had the chance to check it out.
I just love pieces that can be multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swiss Army knives.
Yeah. But
Somebody turned on the washing machine again or the dryer.
I got all my shit off. So it's not from the country.
Beckham seems to have a type for defensive lineman. Last season it was Travis Bell, little bowling ball kind of guy, athletic.
That's you, Trip.
Got nothing on.
What about your neighbors?
As soon as I muted your mic, I stopped hearing it. A little technical difficulty.
Nick is asking if Trip lives by the airport. Oh, Trip's gone.
It sounds like he lives by the airport or something, like there's planes flying by. That's what that sounded like to me.
He'll be back.
I live by an airport. Well, about 7 miles.
See, man, I was trying to do it discreetly. So I muted him first, and that's what fixed it. But this guy puts the man on blast.
I wasn't trying. It's all good. We all good around here.
I was trying to keep it low. You know?
You can still hear it, but you're all right. It ain't as bad as it was. Like,
could be worse. It was worse before. For sure.
But you were saying something. We were talking about that D tackle and what we can do with him. He's a fullback. Got that dual purpose going on with him. We get excited about every single player that the Bears sign, whoever it is, because we're fans. Intrigue is out there. I'm not gonna overhype the guy. I'm just gonna tell you what I see in him. And Barlissimo kind of beat me to that punch a little bit, talking about how violent he is with his hands and how well he disengages. That does really stand out on tape. He is, for guys like that, I think it's advantages to dudes his size, being 6 foot. Shout out to FFG for becoming a new member. That's my dog. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, FFG. But I think that's his superpower, man, because he's built low to the ground, just like Andrew Billings. He's violent with his hands and disengages off blocks very well, just like Andrew Billings. And I think they liked so much what they saw, what they're getting in Andrew Billings. Let's see if we can get another guy with similar skill sets.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See if he can be as effective, because of course, I keep saying we do need a qualified backup to Andrew Billings. I don't know that Zach Pickens is that. And I don't know we have a guy on the team. I think they were thinking Keith Randolph might have been that guy, but I don't think he, obviously, if they're signing a new guy, and I can also tell you this, Mallory was getting a lot more of those kind of reps this last preseason game, those ones you would have expected Randolph to get. So that's a development thing I think is going on as well, man. So just let me mention that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at the depth chart right now. He'd slide in behind Doomfor, right?
That's what I was trying to think of.
Dwumfer?
Yeah. Hey, it's tomato.
Hey, how does that audio sound right there?
It sounds much better actually right now. Much better.
Yeah, hell yeah, Trip. Whatever you did, that works, bro.
Yeah, I actually switched to the mic.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it is.
You're clean right now. You're clean right now.
You gotta be clean, baby. 5x5, 5x5.
See. No, he slots in after Dwumfor. I'll try it again. But Yeah. We'll see. Like Randolph is still there. I haven't seen much of Randolph Jr. and I just want to sort of put that out there. I did see Deshaun Mallory though, and Mallory played well too.
Mallory shows up on tape.
He
for
does.
sure. And I don't know what's going on with Zach Randolph, but I cannot tell you that I remember. I haven't even got to that side of the ball. I've been seeing little bits and pieces of it. I haven't even gotten to that side of the ball. I was busy looking at. Someone asked me how did Braxton Jones do, and the only thing that you could have took away from Braxton Jones is he only got like a handful of pass sets. He was only out there as long as Caleb was out there. So he got a handful of pass sets. I can't remember who asked me, but his pass sets looked decent. He anchored down on a 240 something pounds AJ Espinosa, which shouldn't have been hard for him in the first place. So he didn't get his butt kicked that way. So because AJ Espinosa absolutely tried to bull rush him a couple times, but he set his butt down well and stopped that from happening. He tried to go around him once that I can think of. And Braxton did a good job washing them out. And so whoever that was that asked me about Braxton Jones's sets, nothing to be alarmed about, but also he was going against much lighter defensive ends, and that's not usually the problem that he has. It's usually the bigger ones that's more powerful that really, really drive him back. But AJ Espinosa absolutely tried to go speed to power and tried to push him back. But Braxton did a good job sitting down. It was better than normally what it is. So I will say that. And of course, his superpower on the team. He's really good in the run game, quick out of the blocks and getting out to his sets. In the run game, he's very effective. But the pass sets is what I'm paying a whole lot of attention to.
Man, that whole offensive line looked real good. Braxton looked good to me. He didn't get bowled over. Not a lot of. I don't know if we're saying it's improved, but we'll keep an eye on it, right? Keep an eye on it over the next couple of games. But the whole offensive line looked like a much more cohesive working unit.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of impressed by how clean it was. No injuries that we've heard of on the offensive line, even with on the defensive line. I think we came out of this game real good, man.
Well, hold on. Barlissimo, don't put that up, Nick. Don't put it up. Barlissimo is wanting to know. We spent a whole lot of time yesterday talking about Dominique Robinson. I mean, a lot of time talking. I don't know what time you got to the podcast, but man, we was really I put some thick praise on Dominique Robinson yesterday, and so did Cads and who else was here? Trips as well. So yeah, I definitely gave him a shout out because he was much more improved, and I know we did lean into giving a lot of credit to Eric Washington, but still, he's receptive to the teaching and the training and the toolage, and it paid off.
That's who deserves props, right? Like today on this particular Sunday, the guy who deserved props is Eric Washington, I think, because
yes,
all them pass rushers look great. No, is it just me? We can single out Dominique Robinson and say he played very well because he did. And I think it's important to look at his his edge setting capability and his effectiveness in the run game. Very effective, but he's also getting backfield and being disruptive too. But then you can't not talk about the other guys, man. The other guys were wicked good. Hardy was great.
yes.
Man, Hardy jumped off the 92, he jumped off the screen for me. But I'll leave meat on the bone here, man. There's two other guys to talk. There's a lot of that defensive line looked great. Those edge rushers look great. Trip.
Yeah, it's the power of Poles compels you. It's nice seeing that what Ryan Poles has been bringing in and scouting for is starting to show up on the field. And no matter where he finds them, he's reaching up and down throughout the draft. We went in depth on Booker, so I'll leave that one alone right there. But Chroma, 3 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, one run stop. You mentioned Mallory, Nomad did earlier, 3 tackles. what is that? Pressure. You know what I mean? That led to the pick six. So I mean, these young guys are showing flashes here and there, and it's like they're young, obviously, so they don't have that history, but the future is bright. And it's like, okay, if we can have the coaching staff that's supposed to be the teachers, and if coach from the D line, linebackers, the whole Flus lets them do his thing, their thing. He CEOs it, and just lays back pimping. Everything is going to develop nicely, and then the what do you call that? The interchangeability of doing the stunts on the down and distance, being able to switch it up, knowing that you can trust, and yes, every player along that front, all four of those defensive linemen can hold the run and get to the passer. So they have that. They will chase down the ball from behind. They know how to loop around. So, they can attack from many different directions, and they are all really fast and really strong. So they have different, tools in their own different individual bags. And if you have multiple players along a front that require double teams, there are only 5 offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to keep in, tight ends and backs. That's just going to, allow the linebackers and secondary to eat more because now there are less targets going out in routes. And then they're eating up the runs because they have the body size. They're all, have that flexibility to go both ways. And kids, and when I say that, I mean both ways. I'm not talking about it that way. I'm talking about stopping the run and the pass. And so, I like where it's going, and I definitely like where it's going. Gone, Mr. B. Gone, Mr. B.
Before you do that, Brian, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead and go first.
Well, no, I there's not much that I could add. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch the game live, so I watched it later on last night. I was really surprised with how stout they stopped the run, because I thought that was going to be something that they would probably be a little bit weaker than they have been the past couple of years because of Washington. He was more get after the quarterback as opposed to stopping the run, but they was a wall on that run and still was able to get to the quarterback. And kind of like what Treps is saying, it's nice with your starters and then having the guys, your backups, where you can rotate, keep everybody fresh. When you get to that fourth quarter, the other team's offense, their tongue's hanging out, and the Bears defense is fresh. Also, keep in mind yesterday's game, there was 4 starters that didn't play: Sweat, Stevenson,
Walker,
and Brisker. I mean, that's 3/5 of the no-fly zone plus your best defensive lineman, and they, they was able to do what they did. Yeah, if that doesn't give a person a chubby, I don't know what the hell wouldn't, if you're a Bears fan. And I will also say on the offensive side with the coaching, it's going to be, Poles did a great job with the draft, but getting Washington, getting Waldron, that is the 2 big keys. Because Waldron, he's got to coach each quarterback a little bit different because they got different styles. And the way he's calling the game so far, in my opinion, Bajent has looked the worst, and he's not been horrible with what they're calling. The offense is looking good. I mean, I don't know how anybody that says that they're a Bears fan, you can't be excited. You have to be really miserable, hating life if you're not excited.
Take that, Katrina.
Well,
I'm teasing you, Katrina.
See, you have to do that, man. Katrina's giving her opinion.
Because Katrina specifically said she's still not impressed, right?
She's glass half empty. Hey, you know what? You got a right to be that way. Don't be so overzealous about the whole thing. I get it. But listen, man, there's something, I pay attention to the whole thing. And, something about me being an ex-football player relates so well to Eric Washington, man. And when it comes to coaching, I have to go a little bit further than your average podcaster would, and I go to interviews, and then when I'm done with those interviews, I look for people because like you listen to enough Eric Washington interviews, and you wonder why he gets such activity from his defensive fronts. You know what I mean? And his defense in general, and why people buy into what he's doing. Like, what is Eric Washington bringing to the table that any other fucking coach in the league couldn't bring to the table? You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. And I found this out after watching about 15 different Eric Washington interviews. And I started looking at, listening to, and I just stumbled upon one. I think it was Shaq Lawson talking about, what Eric Washington means to him. And the man got choked up. He wasn't the only one. I'm trying to think of another player. I can't think of his name right off the top, but he ended up going to either Cincinnati or out to Houston after he left Buffalo. But both of them got choked up when talking about Eric Washington and what he meant to him. And if you guys remember when Eric Washington came here, he emphasized at the presser how much he gets to know his players and his guys, and how much he lets them know how much he loves them and cares for them. He gets deep into them. You know what I mean? In a way that in a way that, when you're a player and when it comes down to it, I'm telling you, you're talking about the epitome of football right now. You're talking about the creme de la creme. These are the best of the best in the world. And when it comes down to everybody's in shape, everybody's well trained, everybody's got everything going for them. Technique, fundamentally sound, all that kind of stuff going on. When you know what it comes down to, what the fuck do you have inside you? What kind of heart do you have? And I think Eric Washington has somehow dialed that shit in, and he's able to pull that out of people. And so when you ask, what the fuck just happened with Dominique Robinson, I'm telling you right now, those kind of things have paw prints of coaching on. That's coaching. Wow. That's real deep shit going on. And whatever happens with Dominique moving forward, like, I don't think Austin Booker needed any of that. He plays like a Tasmanian devil any fucking way. Mm-hmm. But for those guys that had that little,
good comp.
those guys that had that little bit of something missing, and you need to dig it out. At the end of the day, when you're down there late in the game, everybody's tired. It's about who has the most fucking heart, who's got that fire and desire in him. I think he's finding that. He's finding out who's got that in him and trying to pull it out of him. I think you're seeing the difference in that.
Man, he does play like a Tasmanian devil, though. I'm just seeing it. That spin move, bro. Anyways, Katrina, yeah, they got a ways to go across the board. You know that they do. There's work to be done. I'm not going to say that there isn't work to be done, but I did like what I saw. I can't lie about that. Reason being, Hall of Fame game was a week ago, and there was no pass rush at all, right? There was little to no pass rush. We did see some flashes from Austin Booker that were interesting, but it was a pass rush light game. It really was. It wasn't a lot of disruption from the defensive line at all. And in a week's time, we see a heck of a stark difference in their ability to get back there and what they're doing as a team, but as individuals, right? We're talking about Dominique finally sort of stepping up into his own, and that's great. We really need him to do that because there has to be an answer at the other side. If there's an answer at the other side of the defense, man, we're going a little bit deeper than I think you guys might think we could. Right? If there's an answer at the other side of that edge rush, this team has potential. And I'm seeing a lot of answers, actually. Whereas a week ago, I had a lot of questions. So I'm pleased. I'm happy with what I saw, man. I gotta honestly say, yeah. They were against, a lot of this was against the first team. A lot of it was against, second and third stringers. But you also want these guys to be eating against second and third stringers. It shouldn't be a walk in the park. So I'm pleased, man. I'm pleased across the board.
We're going to talk about
I got a comment that comment that was just up there from Jigsaw. It says the Bears have finally put together a top-notch GM and coaching staff. Yeah, I want to just holler on that for real quick. Ryan Poles was here before President Warren, but Ryan Poles has got this mentality and this vision and this aura about him that he's trying to put together the team of professionals that are very good at whatever it is the fuck they do. And he lets them do that. He is big on connections and feelings. Whoa. Feelings.
Oh, jeez.
And he connects with people. And he surrounds this staff, the Hallis Hall, with other coaches that connect with people that have a feeling on that feeling level. Look at Flus and his nickname thing, for every player. And then you look at the development that this team has had with what it's had, and it's like, yes, there are the issues that we had. We all know what that was. No need to rehash that. But Poles was like, yeah, let me hold on to Flus. We got rid of Coach Washington. Now let's bring in Coach Williams. Or did I get that wrong? It's two black
the other way around.
It's Williams and Washington. They both black men. Forgive me. I'm sorry, y'all. But you know what I'm saying. So we got Alan Williams is the one that was Flus's boy that's gone. And
Yes.
Coach Washington is the one that's come in, and he's been able to connect with players. But, that's just think about coaches or teachers or mentors that you've had in your life, whereas like they may do the same thing, but some just connect with people better than others.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, I will always remember this one specific one because they were just able to connect with them. They were real people. And if Coach Washington is that, and Shane Waldron is that on the offensive side of the ball, now Hallis Hall has this coaching staff of teachers who care and can connect and develop and build good moral standard character players to take the motherfucking North and not give it the fuck back. Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
Yesterday's game, 33-6. What more do you want? I mean, to me, the impressive thing with Caleb was starting at the 11th or 12th yard line, something like that, and worked it on and down where you at least got a field goal. Would I have liked him to be throw 2 touchdowns the 2 times he had it? Sure. Those will happen. But for his first game, I think Waldron called the perfect game for him. And for the most part, Williams executed. 2 of the passes that didn't get caught was probably more on the receiver. That second pass to Komet, and then that one where DJ kind of had to go. But I mean, didn't make any mistakes. There isn't anything that I can add to Washington that I didn't already say. Him and Waldron, I mean, 1A, 1B as far as the addition to the team. And whether, like getting what Trips was saying, I know me, I've had teachers when I was in school that I may have liked the subject, but me and that teacher didn't click, so I didn't do well. And then there would be a subject that I didn't do well, but I liked the teacher. We kind of clicked, and I did better. And I'm sure coaching is the same way. It's just like that in life. There's people that, you click with, and then there's some that you deal with, and there's some you don't want no part of.
Man, listen, I stopped for a second to make sure that I re-emphasize, like, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm honest with people, and I tell you guys, I come from a defensive mindset anyway. And so when I see a guy like Eric Washington, I go find out who he is, and I get layers of what he is, and not just your average typical coach that goes in there. Because, like I said before, what is it with this guy that when he comes in here and gets such a vast improvement out of someone like Dominique Robinson? you have to look into it to find out what kind of guy this is. And it's fun to laugh at that kind of stuff. He's one of those guys that gets into his players in a way that I think is deep and touching to me, man, because I relate to it that way too. I've responded more to a coach like Eric Washington than a guy in my face spitting, per se. You know what I mean? It just, for me,
But then hold on, but Eric Washington will know when to get in your face and spit.
Oh yeah, he's got it in him. You can look at him and tell that. It's there. I think when you become seasoned as a coach, you know when to pick and choose those moments and who to do that with. And I think you get more with Honey than you can get with anything else. I've learned that over time. You know what I mean? All that barking and hollering, that's only going to take you so far. But when you get to know an individual and get a sense for who he is and what makes him tick, then you can get that person to reach new levels of himself. You know what I mean? And man, Bellissimo is so right. I don't think enough podcasters have, and this is just me going through YouTube thumbnails. I don't think very many podcasters at all have stopped and given Dominique his credit, man. But he definitely deserves it. But what we're here to talk about is Austin Booker, man. Let me tell you something. Man, listen. This young dude right here, I'm telling you, Chicago, I'm telling you right now, the more you see on tape, the more you know exactly, Trip, that motherfucker is a problem. I'm telling you straight out, man. I'm telling you straight out. Austin Booker, he's one of those guys that, I'll give you real quick little negative about him. He's got to stay up and stay more balanced and kind of stay off the ground, be more in control. Like on a couple of plays, he's so aggressive and so determined with his pass rush. All he was doing was looping, and it was so foul and so clunky. But you as a coach, you was like, that's like the easiest thing in the world to fix. You coach him to come around that and do it a little bit tighter, so he's kind of scraping the D tackle as he's going around him, and he's going to the inside. But that's fundamental stuff you can clean up. But man, I'm telling you, Austin Booker, I'm pretty convinced, kids, Trips, and Brian, that they don't need to go out there and reach for a defensive end. After watching, I've been watching Austin Booker probably since about 11:30 this morning, all the way up to about maybe 4 o'clock. I stopped kind of looking. I'm telling you, I think they feel good to let this guy. I don't think you go out and get an edge rusher, no $20 million edge rusher right now. I just don't. I think you would stun his growth. Absolutely. I think you roll with this kid. I think he's going to eventually end up being a starter over there sometime this season if he can stay healthy.
I don't know what to say about the growth stunning thing. I don't want to poo-poo the idea of getting an edge rusher, but I am going to say the kid is a lot better than folks may understand. So the things that I saw him do just a stutter step like you would in basketball to burn a left tackle, like straight up deke move like a wide receiver would do, and instead of going speed to the outside, he cut in, beeline right to the quarterback. Beautiful move. Saw a spin move, multiple speed to counter. He's got a bag of tricks, y'all. He comes to play with stuff. You know what I mean? There's things in the bag. You guys can play with those things that are in the bag. I'm just saying he was very impressive for a rookie 5th round pick. So when he says stunt the growth, I hear him, right? I expect what we're seeing to improve. And Bellissimo made the comp to Max Crosby. What a do, Bellissimo. I've actually looked at that comp. I think it's a very valid and decent comp. I saw your film. I watched your film, Bellissimo. It's a very decent comp. They're relatively similar, the two. My question about Austin Booker was really, did he have the same tenacity on the run? And the answer to that is yup.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, because that when you look at the earlier footage of him in college, I just didn't see a lot. I saw a lot of pass rush, but not a lot on the run. So now we're actually seeing him attack the run too, and the kid he just has motor. He doesn't stop motoring. He's going and he's going, he's going. So I'm all for it.
Kids, I'm telling you, kids,
snaps, huh?
it is how he in the scouting world and the coaching world, they call them levers. In other words, arms. It's how he uses his arms and his hands, and his foot drive and leg drive added to that simultaneously makes him absolutely unique. I mean, you gotta be. I mean, because he's only 240 some odd pounds, maybe 250. I don't know. He might have put on a couple pounds since he's been here.
I'm sure he's closer.
But he is not that big, man. But in order to know how to be effective with the tools that you have, is knowing how to engage with your hands and using your arms to get that. When you stretch them out and lock out,
length, man,
and keep people off of you, all you gotta do is drive, and you get people off you because they're already on skates trying to back away from you. And so you saw that time, and it wasn't like he was just doing that to second and third string guys. He did that to Deion Dawkins, a Pro Bowl left tackle. And so, yes, I'm excited as a motherfucker about Austin Booker. I think there's less concern at edge rusher as he's going now. We're gonna temper expectations and see if he can stack it again and again going into the regular season. But I think their focus right now is where it should be, signing a defensive tackle to give them some depth on the inside, not on the edge. I think we got some decent pieces there. I think the interior is where they want to make sure they got that solidified, which is why they probably went out and got that defensive tackle today.
I look at think about how we got Booker and Poles got him in the fifth round for the same pick that he got from Buffalo or something like that. But how the way he fell to the fifth round with the talent that he has, this was such an offensive top heavy draft. And then with the COVID end of that tail end of that draft from the previous recruits, he just kind of got into that little no man's land in that little soft area, and Poles was like, yes, give me that right there. And then now we see the comparisons to Crosby. We see the bag of tricks and that he's just out there with the left tackles, or he's able to move around in different positions, right tackles, interior at this stage of his young career. But he has them on a string with his speed and his athletic ability. Then he's got the hands, and he has the drive, that motor that just keeps going, that he's chasing down plays. And, if he flushes a quarterback in the pocket and he's still chasing him around, a quarterback thinks he's going to score, and it's like, nah, because Booker's right there. And it's like that, just determination, giving Coach Williams that clay to help mold into a professional. That's his starting point right there, is where Booker is right now. Where Dom was right, then when he got a hold of him after, 2 years in the position and in the NFL still, no matter how bad we think Don Rob is, he's still in the league. So, I mean, he's doing something right, because there are a whole lot of other players that are not in the league that we may think are more talented, but they see something there. And now we're starting to see that development, which we knew he was, and that it would take time when we drafted him because he was new to that position. So now we're seeing the fruits of these 2 seasons of development of Dom Rob, and now having Coach Williams, get his hands on him. So, the way that this line is up, damn it.
Hey, Trips, can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Now, you've been watching this game long enough. You played it enough too to know that you got football players, and then you got some goddamn heathens that come and suit up, and they determine the second they suit up and get out on that field, they about to raise absolute pandemonium and hell on this motherfucker the minute this whistle blows.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference in those guys. Tell me
Yeah.
I'm not the only one that sees that in Austin Booker.
You know, because there's a reason I didn't go professional with sports. Because like sometimes after a night at the party and shit, it's practice, and it's like good mornings, and it's like yeah, all right, coach, and this motherfucker all fired up and shit. Like, oh, damn it, oh. And he was like, what? And like, oh yeah, you got it, dog, you got it, baby, I'm up. And it's like, yeah, those dudes where it's like, yeah, they just on that different level. Where it's like the ice tub after practice, they get they first dibs. Don't know nobody even question who's getting in first in the ice tub after practice.
You're first.
You know, because that's who earned it. And those are those dogs. You know, because big dog got to eat, take the big piece of meat, get an ice tub first, all that good stuff. The spoils. So yeah, you know who those are. You can't fake that. You know, you can't say, well, I was drafted here, I went to this school, or it's like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because we out here strapping it up. You know, who wants it? And it's like on the practice field, they see it more than all the podcasters, you know, all the ones who have the little, you know, the lanyards to get into Hallis Hall and do their little reporter questions. And so they feed us the narratives of what they're seeing. But they're not seeing what the coaches are seeing. And so what these coaches have put out on the field that I'm looking at with my own eyes from the limited reps that the guys got that I was able to see with the vision that I had of the field, there's talent going on out here that maybe the local media hasn't been like, oh, yeah, this guy's doing good. This guy's doing good. They're more of the naysayer crowd. But just the direction that it's going, yeah, we got some popping off out here on that defensive line that we're just addressing right now. But we see the other rooms and how they doing nice too. So yeah, but damn, yeah. Go ahead.
Real quick, man. Let me speak to Barrelissimo. I see what you're trying to get at when you're talking about how soft that umbrella coverage is, man. That I want to have that conversation with you shortly after we get through talking about some of this other stuff, because I know what you're getting at. And I think part of that is, you know, coaching, man, when they call those coverages, coaches tell you exactly how they feel about the talent that they're playing with based on the coverages and matchups they call. You know, if they don't really trust, you know, the coverage on the backside, they don't trust the ability to get pressure up front, they're going to call the most vanilla stuff that makes them feel comfortable and safe in calling that coverage. And so as of now, up until now, I don't think Flutes had the pieces to call the shit that he probably wants to call. With the addition of Eric Washington and the new pieces that we have that can get a little bit more multiple, I can see whatever we've been seeing in preseason ain't shit compared to what I think he might pull out of his trick bag come the season with Eric Washington's mind here as well. You know, I think I've been talking about that a lot in this offseason too. We've got the ability to get a little bit versatile and not play so much soft zone coverage in tight spots and down in the red zone like that. You could match up a whole lot better. But that's just due to not having enough talent. I think we have the pieces now to kind of get a little bit more versatile there. But we can have that conversation, Barrelissimo. I know exactly what you're talking about. But my fault, Brian. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to do my Clint Eastwood, the good, bad, and the ugly. But first, I want to help Trip out a little bit. I believe the Bears traded a 4th-round pick to get Bates, got a 5th-round pick and that's how they got Booker.
Okay, right.
The good part, I think Booker, the way how the Tasmanian Devil, beautiful definition describing him, and that's probably the other teammates feed off that. I mean, so they're going to pick up their game. Hey, if this guy is given 100%, I need to give at least 95 to 100%. And then before you know it, the whole team is playing like their hair's on fire and their asses are catching. That's a good. And also the good, I don't think he's going to be like Mark Anderson. I know a lot of people want to compare. Mark Anderson was a 1-year wonder, had a hell of a rookie year. You didn't hear shit about him after that. That happens. I don't think that's going to happen with Booker. Now, the bad. Remember that one, Booker is going up against second and third stringers, and he's looking good. I don't know how he's going to.
He beat the shit out of Deion Dawkins a couple times. He's a Pro Bowler.
He went up against the Pro Bowler there in the first.
That's fine. But also remember that Booker only has about 500 snap experience in college.
Very true.
Did he grow? Definitely. And I'm
Right now, Jay Hall.
Yeah, I'm happy as hell to get him. If you can't tell it on my little TV screen, but that's who it's Austin Booker. Because, like I said, he's from a town close to me. Where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Nomad, because you started off saying that the Bears don't need to get a high dollar defensive end. And for the most part, you're right. But if it's a deal where they're, say, 6-1 or 5-2 at the trade deadline, and you're trying to get, that's what, when I said that his Poles is being methodical, he's got his starters, he's building the depth. Right now, you get a defensive end, and you got two, in my opinion, kick-ass guys backing up. And Katrina made that point about the depth. I mean, right now, if Sweater Booker gets hurt, you ain't got nothing. If Billings or Dexter gets hurt, well, you still got Pickens. You still got Walker, who plays better on the inside than he does out. You could get by a little bit better if an injury happens on the inside compared to the out. That would be why I would go after a defensive end. Does it have to be a high dollar end? No, but I mean, if your record's good and you want to try to make a Super Bowl run, I think next year is definitely a Super Bowl run. This would be try to get to the playoffs, but it just depends on how your record is. With their schedule being as easy as it is the first, basically, 11, 12 weeks, if you can take advantage of that, go for it.
Well, anyway. It's like this. It's if he continues to ascend in this preseason and it carries over. Here's the thing. You're right, Brian. You can't never have too many good pass rushers. You can't. It's impossible in this league to have too many of them. You can't. No coach will ever tell you we got too many pass rushers. I promise you that. I know that. Number one. Number two is if, like, my concern isn't because we haven't seen Jacob Martin and what he brings to the table. I know what he's going to bring to the table because I looked at enough film. Dominique Robinson continues to ascend a little bit. Can that continue to stack? Then you got a whole lot of pause when you're sitting there at the levers of somebody's money, and then you're talking about signing somebody that is available, that is nice, really will be a really nice piece to kind of put you over the top in that department. But then what would it do to the individual that you see ascending or the individuals that you see ascending? Because first of all, you got to find snaps for them. And if you get that piece that's out there and you just like, oh, fuck, I got to Trey Hendrickson's there. He's available. Then what happens to Austin Booker's ascent? What happened to Dominique Robinson's ascent? You know what I mean? So you got to weigh that as a general manager and as coaches. Like, do the coaches really want something to get in the way of what they see in Austin Booker? Because Brian, I can guarantee you this. Today, when those motherfuckers went in the office and looked over that film, I'm talking about Flus and Eric Washington. Trust me when I tell you, there's a whole lot of fucking smiling and high-fiving going on in that motherfucker because they know they got them one. And so what do you do with that? You nurture it. You nurture it. Keep giving it opportunity to grow and blossom. I don't know what they're going to do with that free agent money. I mean, with that cap money. Will they spend it there? Will they go inside and feel like they need to sign somebody on the inside? To me, seems like their mind is more on the interior of the offensive line right now. To me, so, based on what they're doing.
I'm going to double down on where Nomad is with this because we've had the opportunity to touch on Austin Booker and how well he's done, on Dominique Robinson and how well he's progressed as well. But Brian, in contrary to what you're saying, Hardy's doing well out there too.
Yes.
There's who else is
Don't
out
forget
there?
about 52 either.
52's killing. Khalid Kareem's killing it out there.
Yeah, man.
I wish I was lying about these things, but all of these defensive edge, like all these edge rushers, are looking much better.
Walker hasn't even played yet.
Who?
Walker hasn't even played yet.
Walker hasn't played, and Martin hasn't played. So I'm going to assume that they're probably potentially even a level up from the guys that we're seeing, which is fantastic. If this is what we have at defensive end, yeah, we might have a little bit of depth at the defensive end position. And somebody mentioned something about double teams earlier in the chat, and I wish I could remember who it was. I meant to note it. And they were in reference to the offense, but it works in both capacities here. Who are you going to double team if Javon steps up? You have Montez on the other side, and whoever's on the other side can win their one-on-ones. Like, that's all they need to do. Can you win your one-on-ones? And like we're seeing both sides win their one-on-ones without the starters. That's great, right? So we might have depth at this position, and maybe we've all been overreacting about the DE position, and maybe there's solutions here. But I still need a couple of weeks. Like, let's be real. I need a couple of weeks to see this continue on. If this is a weekly thing, wow.
It's a great revelation, man. And I've said this at the beginning, I've been a proponent for, if we need to, go out and spend the money and get the edge rusher. We got a rookie. We don't know how long it's going to take him to develop. I've been on that side of the ball. But I did like what they did in the offseason. I did feel like they had a couple of pieces that we need to see what they bring to the table during this preseason. And Trips, as you can see, we got some pieces that looks like they can win some one-on-ones. Got a couple of guys out there that hasn't played and seen starters yet, meaning Khalid Kareem and Daniel Hardy. The only one that's seen the starters so far is Austin Booker. And so far we know we can get there. Austin Booker's got to layer another couple of preseason games on that and keep that ascent going. Keep doing that. But we need to see. I'm going to repeat this. We need to see Daniel Hardy and Khalid Kareem against the ones. First chance.
Oh yeah, definitely. Chroma, all of those guys. And something I was thinking about, like when I'm cheating at Madden and building my franchise, and I want to get all the top rated players. And it's like, well, I don't want all the top rated players, even if they're like 10 or 8-year or 6-year veterans are on their second contract. Who are the big shit rookies? I want those guys and look at other teams and take the ones that aren't getting playing time because they're good, but not the top, all-star nows, the future all-stars. And it's like Poles is developing these future athletic, similar traded players. They're different sizes, as he's like to say. Some are faster, some are taller, some are shorter, some are fatter. But they're versatile, they're interchangeable, they're athletic, they're hungry, they're talented with their individual pass rush moves and can win their one-on-ones individually. Several of them require the double teams. And then we still, as Barry was going on a little bit about PJ. What's going on, brother, man? Barry was going on about the vanilla of the defense and the soft zone. It's like, it's preseason. They ain't showing you nothing. Every now and then they'll do a stunt on the defensive line just to practice it. Or they did the blitz of Edmonds, just to practice it, get it in there, and he almost got home, broke up the play. Chroma staying at home on the rollouts, so they'll do some things, but it's not going to kick off until the season, because it also strikes me that the way Coach Washington is able to develop, I think he's going to be able to develop the play calling as well to address what the opposition is trying to do. And I think he looks like the type of coach who will make the adjustments when necessary, to whatever the situation calls for. And so having those pieces, being able to interchange them at will to mind fuck the other team into, getting to their quarterback and getting enough pressure from different directions from different players that they can't key on. Well, we just got to block Montez Sweat, and now we don't have to worry about the Bears, rushing us. Like, no, that's not a possibility. They don't know where it's coming from, and the way the secondary is built up, the way these linebackers are built up, and the attention to detail, they're ball hawking out there. And it's like, we haven't seen tight coverage because it's the second preseason game and the starters aren't even playing yet. So now we're not going to see no tight coverage. But when they want to play it, I believe they will be able to. And of course, it's still, people will get beat, because it's football and those other guys get paid in practice too. They got talent. But overall, in the team aspect of it, as we've been building the theme of this morning or tonight's program, just the culture that Poles is developing with the coaching staff and these players and the way it's all coming together, there's the mental, there's the physical, there's the, emotional aspects that they're addressing in Hallis Hall that we've never had them address before or heard about addressed before. They putting them in the bod pod, seeing what they can do physically. They have the, mental health facilities. Hey, you want need to holler at somebody, you need something, go ahead and handle that. So they're addressing all of the holistic needs that these athletes will allow them to be themselves. And Dom Rob was saying that he needs to play angry. I think he's still learning and developing and still trying to get comfortable. So he's still thinking more than reacting. And once he just is comfortable and can react and knows what he's doing, then he'll be able to rep up that anger activity. But then once again, he's, kid from Ohio, nice, soft-spoken. He's not that angry guy. He's not that guy, but he doesn't have to be because there are enough of those guys out there. As long as he's solid and can do what he needs to do and stop the run and get to the passer, that's all we need him to do. He ain't got to be pissed off to do that. So as, now these players are learning their positions. Now they got to learn how to play with each other and gel and bond as a team. Because remember, the team isn't even set yet. So there's not a lot of cohesion going to go on anyway, until we get down to that 53. And now it's like, all right, I know who's to my left. I know who's to my right. I know who's who. And now they can start gelling. But right now, it's just we're looking at the talent and how they're making the team and just the coverage. Vanilla, don't even trip.
Let me throw something out there because I don't know if anybody noticed this. Stuck out to me because I heard the man talk about this before he became a Bear. I heard him go up to the podium and say this since he's become a Bear. So Andrew Billings was playing some 3-tech yesterday. Yeah, Big Bill playing some 3-tech, and they slid Dexter into the interior, which we know he can do. And so, being multiple, that's one of the notes I took when I was watching the replay. Kids is they got Big Bill. They apparently, trust me when I tell you, by the time we see it in the game, they've seen it enough in practice to say, all right, let's get this a shot. Let's roll this out there. I ain't gonna tell you how effective he was at doing it. I just wanted to take note of that and give it on to the No Maniacs so they know. Next time you go and look at that tape, watch when you see Javon Dexter line up over the over the center, and how Andrew Billings slides out to the right side and plays 3-tech between the tackle and the guard. Just take note of that. But what say you, kids?
My guys, Mr. Flus has said that he wants everybody to sort of cross-train or be cross-trained, especially on that line. So this sort of speaks to that. We've seen it with Jervon and Zach Pickens, and now we're seeing it with Jervon and Andrew Billings, which is great. I think Andrew Billings is fantastic on the line. He's one of my favorite players on this team, to be honest with you. But it's cool to get him at the 3 position too, Because now you can be real sneaky and funky with things. And I don't expect our defense to be completely vanilla this season, which is going to be a stark difference. I think we're going to see a heck of a lot more activity, a lot more exotic blitzes, and I think that's really going to be courtesy of Eric Washington more so than Matt Eberflus. But I think that's something we're going to see. And trickery like this, if it works and it's been practiced, I think it'll go a long way. Trips?
Yeah, I mean it's a work in progress, and it's more talented players, more talented coaches with experience. Shane Waldron ain't new to this. As opposed to what we've been experiencing with the Luke Yessie. Coach Washington, he ain't new to this. That's what we experienced with the short timer. We don't know what the hell he did still, Coach Williams. And so, having these personalities, these talents with these skills coming in, hey, I like it. I'm not saying, Super Bowl or bust, but this is a definite upgrade in direction of franchise, as far as I can tell. And, in addition to the way that Poles is spending the money, we're going into the season, $21 million or so in cap space, just retained DJ Moore, nice, wholesome kid, out there balling his ass off every week, nice family man. And, so the guys that earn it get rewarded with those contracts. Poles is not willy-nilly, loosey-goosey with the money. He's not just, giving out checks, good luck with that Roquan, and he did cool. Right on, Monty, handle your business. But Poles is like, I got my price, and I'm sticking to it. You don't like it, go on with that. And he's able to identify young talent, from the coaching, not the coaching staff, but the scouting staff that he's been overhauling since he's gotten here. And we're seeing those fruits of those labors. And there's nothing to be really mad about with what Poles has done team-wise, other than saying, well, but Chase Claypool, though. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. It's like, all right, he swung, for
he's gonna swing, he's gonna make mistakes. We're all human. I think he's done a fantastic job, and I think this is like, to wrap it all up into a bow, I think it's gonna work this time. And I've said this little phrase a couple of times this offseason. I actually think it's gonna work this time. Things are looking decent. If they struggle a little bit out the gate, maybe we don't go to the Super Bowl this year, guys. You know what I mean? And even then, I'm with it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. We got a rookie QB, and again, a burgeoning new situation with a fantastic defense and a couple of rooms on this team that that are very hard to get into, right? So I'm super stoked, man. I think there's room here for a lot of growth. This game realistically was more of a level set. Now we have an idea what we have. We might have some pass rushes, guys. We might actually have depth there,
You know what else stuck out, kids, watching that film is they were very intentional about pass protection, keeping Caleb clean.
Bro, it looked for all the vitriol the offensive line has been getting the last couple of weeks with Nate Davis and Tevin getting hurt and Ryan Bates moving and Colt, you know what I mean? Just all the vitriol, man. Everybody's worried about every step of the way with that offensive line, including yours truly. Don't think I'm trying to back out of here like I was one of them guys. They look great, y'all. They look really good. They look really succinct, really well put together. I appreciated the way all of them worked out yesterday. Like I could start, but it doesn't matter. Kid was clean. right? I think it was one sack yesterday. Was there? Was there one late in the game?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you know what was? You know what's more impressive? You know, and this is some shit. Caleb, you know, Caleb is you know, that one play that he almost threw that pick. Looking at that play, you know, I always said the minute I started watching Caleb's film, I hope he's gonna always be super duper confident in that arm talent because it's spectacular. He whistled that ball in the DJ into a tight window, really good, really good. But that out pattern or that little curl route he had in the flat when he threw the ball, that's just him being a little bit more confident in his arm in NFL than he should be. Like you're not there yet. You don't throw that ball, you throw that ball over everybody's head. But he threw it. And that's just him being super duper fucking confident, and you like that in him. But he's got to refine that, you know, knowing when your super duper arm can make a play and not. Because there was also another time when that he threw the ball out of bounds, and there was a layered concept where there was the best way to describe it is you got one kind of flat route going to the right side, and he's rolling to that direction, and then another concept right behind it, a similar route right behind it. And then he had, I think it was a guy that came from the other side, from the weak side, over to the side that Caleb was on, that was sitting in the middle. Why it was different is because a linebacker was somewhere in the area, and Caleb saw it, and he wasn't sure that he can layer that ball over top and get that ball over top of the linebacker. That's some NFL quarterback shit I know he's going to master. But when it's your first game, and your very first game in the NFL, I can see why you don't throw it. But, you know, there's going to be times in games when we need him to make a play like that. I can see the intent is there. He's got the confidence to throw that ball. He's definitely
to hit the guy in the flat in that on that
no,
play.
there were route concepts over in the flat to lure the defense away from where the ball was supposed to go, where another guy from the other side was coming from the weak side over into the middle of the field where it was a ball there for him to throw. He just didn't throw it because, you know, it's his first fucking game. You know what I mean? He'll throw that ball later on in the season, but I think you'll see him stack and look at that tape and be like, fuck, I gotta at least try to give that ball a chance. Easily he'll see that probably the first couple of plays they pulled up for him on the cut-ups. He probably saw that one like, we missed this one here, Caleb. And so, you know, you can see the rookie in him when the deeper you look at the tape, you can see the rookie in him. But by far and away, I saw ready shit from a rookie quarterback than I didn't. Now, what does that mean? That means I saw shit that helps him be more ready than not to play in this league.
Did he look like a rookie yesterday, Triple R?
Hey man, look, man. I'm
easy for you to say.
I'm thinking, you know, I'm
Oh,
of a
shit.
certain generation, so don't even trip. But I remember when we had Vince Evans, and
Yep.
you know, I remember when we had Jim Harbaugh and, you know, Kay McNown and all them other motherfuckers in between and after and before. And then it was like, okay, whatever. And then it's like, oh shit, Mitch Trubisky, what we got? Who's this? Like, oh fuck. And then it's like, oh, Orton, and it's not in the same order. Then, you know, we traded for Cutler, and it's like, oh, you shoot bears now, you fucktard. And so it's like,
Don't
then it was
forget Caleb
Justin
Payne.
Fields. Then it was Justin Fields, and it was like, oh. But Caleb Williams has looked like, hey, this fucking kid looks like he knows how to play quarterback. You know, he takes the snap, he's calm, nice settled feet, going through reads, not forcing anything, not rushing anything, not panicking, making a smart play. You know, not doing anything that would make you go, "Ooh, he's gonna really need to work on that." Oh, don't do that, kid. Don't do that. But he looks like mentally, physically, that he has the talents and the traits to do what Ryan Poles thought that he could be able to do when Poles decided, yeah, I'm gonna draft this kid. I ain't even interviewing none of these other quarterbacks because I don't give a shit because I'm taking that kid. And it's like, okay, I see you. Okay. You talented little fucker. You're giving fierce. I see you giving fierce. And so it's like, all right, we look like we actually have a quarterback who wants to be, knows how to be a quarterback. And the team, seems to rally around him and like him and, connect with him on whatever levels they have to connect to him on the human level, on the team level, and, just being chill. And it's like, looking at the character and the moral fiber of these players that have come in, looking at Roma Dunze, and it's like, that's just a very stand-up young man. And he's gotten with Caleb, and they've formed this bond and this, relationship. And you want that for your rookie quarterback and rookie wide receiver to have that. And it's like, oh, shit. Oh, we got some shit.
Hold on now. I got to get at Katrina now. Katrina, be cool now. Like, really? He's a rookie. It's his first game in the NFL. You worry about how long he held the ball yesterday? He had a great game yesterday. Same token, I'm not going to anoint the kid the next Patrick Mahomes. Let's just put that out there. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
He's got a long ways to go. At the very least, we need to pay attention to how he progresses over the course of the next couple of weeks, right? Give him a shot. There will be times when he holds the ball too long. A, he's behind a shaky offensive line, and B, if you notice, he looks for the deep shot. And if you also notice, he's able to make them. Like, the thing that jumped out to me about Caleb Williams this weekend was the high-low concept on the right side when he rolls out. And the guy in the flat he was open. The pass was there for the guy in the flat. But he went to Cole Kmet anyways and hit Cole Kmet over and above him. Well played, right? That's the guy who's paying attention. He could have taken the 10, but he took the 15. Well done, right? Like, I'm
Kids, can I say something to you, man? I'm gonna give you like the way football players see that shit. When you see him make like that one throw, I think of in particular the one to DJ when he whistled one in that window and he hit Cole on one on the sidelines. Was it Cole or another? I can't remember who it was, but it was a nice throw. It was like, damn, he made that throw. So from a defensive back's perspective, you see some things out there. It's like, oh shit, he can make that throw. Oh fuck, he hit that in there. It's kind of fucking alarming, as a defender. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about
did you guys expect him to make the 3rd and 12?
What's that?
Did you expect him to make the 3rd and 12? His first third and long.
Like, I haven't seen the all 22 version of it. I've seen a replays version of it. And that wasn't all 22. Like, I'd have to see it from a defensive perspective and an offensive perspective to tell you that, all right, he should have threw that ball. He shouldn't have.
No. I'm not trying to break it down to that level. I'm being more Bears fansy with this. It's a kid's first third and long.
Expect him to be able to make a third. He's got the arm talent to make.
But it's his first 3rd and long as a Chicago Bears quarterback, and I was a little bit worried for the kid. I'll be honest with you. I was a little bit worried for the kid in his first 3rd and long, and he nailed the F out of it. Boom! Like, what do you think? What's a 3rd and long? Let me bang.
You know what I think what Katrina and the pundits are tapping into is the throwing style and the cross body motion and the shortstop going deep in the hole. Getting the pill and doing the jump throw to first, that's something that Mahomes, he didn't invent, but he made, very, very popular because of his success. And so now, the kids, that's just another tool in their bag that they're practicing how to throw across your body, which the old school rules was that you're never supposed to do. And it's like, well, now that's just, written into plays. That's just expected. And so as the physical talent and training, and then, it's like, our generation, Mr. B, we played at the local YMCA or the kids clubs or the little leagues. Nah.
The football was oblong.
Right. Nowadays you got to be in those pay leagues and you got to invest in your child's development.
Yeah.
And so these children are being coached or trained from a very young age, Pee-wee, on how to be professionals. And so they're getting the coaching on those techniques of how to throw off platform. And so as this new age develops, we're going to see just more and more of that. But right now, we got the first one brand new out of the box that really does it well. And he has the brains on top of that to be able to process and understand, what, when, why, where, how to do it. It's just.
Trips, you know what's awesome about that shit? Because everybody knows situational football by the time you get there. And he definitely has been trained on what situational football, third and distance, third and anything beyond 7 or 8. He knows that there's probably a linebacker robber concept in the middle of the field designed to bait him to try to find something in the middle of the field and go for it. And then swoop in comes a linebacker to rob him of that throw. And so you got to understand that concept, number one, and he got it. But how you beat a concept like that is you look him off. You look at that linebacker, you can put that linebacker in straight up conflict and have him thinking you're going somewhere, and then boom, turn your head, fire. He ain't got time to get to it. And that if you watch that film enough, you'll see that. You'll see that. And he's got that early, man. I just want to see. I know everybody, we should be fucking excited, Chicago. We should be fucking excited. We have every right to be. But I'm just going to say, let's see this dude stack these performances. Let's see if he can come out there and play clean next week, do it again the week after, if he even plays that last preseason game. But, I do think he needs to. I do think he needs to play that. Every single preseason game, he needs to get some reps in. But, I want to see him stack them. If he falters just a little bit, has some shortcomings, I don't want to see people get down this cat's throat. I don't want to see Chicago panic. I don't want to see the fan base start to get negative vibes about it because it's all process. It is absolutely all process. And thus far, you can see the coaching. You can see his natural instincts taking over. That little dump off on the screen pass, it was a design screen pass, but he knew that screen pass was going to get blown up if he hadn't made a decision real fast. And so that's a conundrum for a coach is what I would tell you, because your average coach would be like, fuck, dude, don't you ever fucking throw that ball. Just eat it, get on the ground, take the loss.
Hey, Nomad, hold up. Mentioning that screen pass, is it Doug Kramer number 65?
No, that's Shelton.
Shelton, okay, it was Shelton then. Because on that screen pass, hustling down the field was number 65, ran past number 76.
Yeah, that was Coleman Shelton.
And he was down there to pick up Swift at the end of that play.
So if you look at that play again, 42, the linebacker's in there. If he's just another quarter of a yard up, he's right there to take that bitch back for 6. And so the coach has got to be on the sideline like, oh, he's getting a little tight in the ass. He's like, oh, fuck, don't do that. But he did it and got away with it. But it goes back to some of that shit Poe said about being instinctual. His instincts, you don't want to ever step on that. You don't want to ever step on that. And you can see his instinct shining in that moment. And luckily we got a big positive play out of that. But man, it was, that was a scary play. But that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened, to be honest with you. But he got away with it. And I hope that he doesn't. I hope you could tell that he's getting some really good coaching and tutoring and management. I just don't want them to overmanage him and let his instinct shine.
I think that's what we saw out there. I think he was very instinctual. I think he played calm, cool, and collected. So did the offensive line. Again, I'm not crowning him king. Want to see a couple more preseason games, see how he does and how he fares into the season. Let's be real. I think some of that confidence will turn into interceptions, right? It's going to happen. It's good old hubris. But as long as he can keep the number of those interceptions down, I think we have a quarterback, guys. It's real early to say, but I think we have a quarterback. I was impressed by what he was able to pull off in short order in a quarter.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off there, but
No,
I
of
see
course.
the interceptions that I could see Caleb Williams making are ones where he's thinking I can get the ball in there, but the professional defensive back is like, nah, kid.
Mm-mm.
Is able to jump it, and or when balls are coming out and getting tipped by D linemen. And now they're dead ducks up there fluttering just for anybody. I think those are the two aspects where he'll get picked most. I don't think it'll be where he just misreads the coverage and throws into bad situations.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen at all, right? I think it's really going to be hubris. Like, I'm going to test my arm. I can make this throw. Damn it, I didn't make this
Like
throw.
a goddamn scratch
Like-
off. Man. It's like a scratch off. You don't know what you're gonna get all the time.
No. And we kind of need him to test that out. We need him to test those waters, and the only time to do it is this season, y'all. Let's be completely frank. He's got a season to kind of test the waters out as a rookie and see, where can I put this ball? What windows can I throw this thing into? What's coverage really look like in the NFL? So, like I say, these first 10 games, a little bit of a work in progress. I feel like they're a little bit light as far as schedule is concerned, and he has the opportunity to pick up a couple of early wins. Hopefully, they're not early losses.
I'm telling you. Go ahead, Brian.
I'll just add this with Caleb. Let him, number one, he's going up against one of the better secondaries every day in camp. True?
Yeah.
Okay. Let him figure out what he can get away with. Now, by the same token, if he knows if he's going up against the best, he may try, okay, maybe I can get it by this secondary. That could come back to haunt him. Him only being 6'1", tips are going to be a problem, but I don't think it stopped Drew Brees from having a Hall of Fame career.
Right.
I think the tallest quarterback that I remember was McGuire. He was 6'8", and he didn't do crap. So height and everything.
Look, I'm not worried about that. Doug Flutie was short as all heck. He got the ball
bingo.
out.
Well, let's not go Flutie Flex there, Canada. Settle down.
Hey, Canada had to go Flutie Flex. He's like 5'10". He's like 5'10".
I'm not concerned about any of that shit right now. What I was concerned about, I think I saw a glimmer of don't get so worried about. When I looked at the tape, and that was about him being able to have a sense in the pocket, when not to do certain things, when to know something isn't there, timing, feeling the pressure, kind of sensing what's going on around him and knowing when to step up in the pocket and take off. And that's the kind of shit I want to see him continually do. That makes me feel good. You got to be able to keep a series progressing when you have those opportunities and not sit there too long, because he, like Justin, has a tendency to hold on to that ball a little too long and trust and wait for something to come open so he can use that elite arm talent he's got. You know what I mean? But I think he heard the message. I think he got the memo. Do not stand in that motherfucker. If you got a sense of that thing isn't there, start matriculating your way up that pocket and run if you need to. You could tell that the teaching is sinking in.
To get to what you, no matter what you talked about, that pass to Rome that almost got intercepted, which to me, that looked like the worst throw that Caleb made out of what he threw. There was on YouTube a reporter, and I don't know who, I'm sorry, I can't remember, that was talking to them. And he said him and Rome practice. Rome was supposed to cut one way and didn't. And that's what Caleb thought he was anticipating. And Rome admitted that, yeah, he made a mistake. So it was something that they'd been practicing. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, instead of going to his right, he went to the left, or vice versa. That you can't really blame Caleb 100%. I mean, with him being the quarterback and throwing the ball, yeah, he gets a good chunk of it. But if they've been working on one thing and something that's what training camp's for. That's what preseason's for, is to work these kinks out.
Well, now, and also not to cut you off there a little bit, Mr. B. It's like we look at Caleb and we understand, and I think we're actually applaud ourselves as a fan base. We're trying to be patient here in preseason game, week number 2 for our rookie number 1 quarterback. And it's like, all right, it's going to take time. He's going to make mistakes. Shit's going to happen. He has to learn. He has to develop. And that off the field bond that he's developing with Rome and the other receivers, players is happening. But when that on the field bond happens in year number 2 and year number 3 of this process, they will know that left-right kind of stuff and kind of look at each other and get a little wink or a little nod. Yeah. That little hand signal, and then it's on. Then that's a touchdown. So in 3 years, that's definitely a touchdown.
You brought a great point, and I don't mean to step on whoever was next, but if anybody can remember when Cutler and Brandon Marshall, when they was with Denver, their first couple of years, and they had like that mental telepathy with each other. And I mean, they not dominated the league. I mean, that's why Chicago gave up those draft picks to get Cutler, and then a year or two to get Brandon Marshall. When you got a wide receiver and a quarterback, that's why I was so big on when we knew that the Bears was going to get Williams. Hey, I wanted to get a wide receiver too, so they can grow together. I just didn't think it was going to be Rome because I didn't think he was going to fall that far. Damn glad that he did.
Right?
It is because even though you got the 2 Pro Bowlers and DJ and Allen, I wanted another receiver that him and Williams could grow together to have that bond. And luckily it turned out to be Rome.
I need to mention somebody else that stuck out when I was watching the film. Pleasant surprise. Don't remember which No Maniac in the show said it when we was here last time. But I'll tell you one thing, if you don't see Jaylen Jones popping out on that film, something's wrong with your goddamn eyes. You need to go make you an eye appointment or something. But Jaylen Jones was on a mission.
That's 21, right?
You can feel the
optometrist.
You need to see something because that dude popped off on that film, and I can tell he senses the heat. You know what I mean? He knows that the competition is real in his room. And Jaylen Jones is I thought he was a dog the minute we got him. He had a couple of injuries that he had to go through, but man, I'm telling you, it's interesting that he is the first one up. When Tyreek Stevenson is out of the game, I mean, he's not in practice and he's not starting. Jaylen Jones is the guy they go to. And I think he's a very, very good cornerback that could be starting on somebody else's team. Just going to tell you that right now. You know what I mean? Will we keep him? I think we should this year, but I think he's definitely going to be a good trade piece somewhere down the line.
So something I didn't notice, was Terrell Smith on the field yesterday?
I don't remember.
I told you I haven't looked at all the defensive snaps, but I think he was.
Okay. I didn't notice. I didn't notice him. I didn't see him. Jaylen Jones jumped out on tape. Man, that room's crazy. He looks really good out there as our backup. You know what I'm saying? Our backup cornerback, which then leaves a Terrell Smith and a Reddy Stewart into the mix. Man, that room is just disgusting. I like Reddy showed out again. In run, he rushed the passer, got stuff to run. My guy, like, that's a nickel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a nickel, man. So I'm talking about Reddy Stewart right now, man. Reddy Stewart was getting in there. I know you were talking about Jaylen Jones, but I'm saying the room is crazy, right? That room, that secondary room is nuts. I don't know how. I'd hate to be the guy who had to whittle down who's gonna stay in that room.
It does. Do you think Jaylen Jones can play nickel?
No,
Jaylen can play anywhere out there. He can play boundary, nickel. Oh yeah, he can play fucking nickel.
better than Reddy Stewart. I'm not so sure about that.
I'm telling you right now, you put that motherfucker in there, he got that kind of temperament and that kind of personality. He will step up and give you some goddamn hella nickel reps. I'm telling you.
Well, because I asked because of the number of spots that there are on the roster and how many players that they keep, special teams going to be a big thing. So you're looking at the cornerback room of like a Stewart, Blackwell, Jones, and who has that versatility to play outside and nickel, because Gordon seems to go down a little bit here and there with, whatever dings up he gets.
I put it this way, Drew.
You need that versatility. And so if it's between, a Reddy Stewart, who's more of a comfortable nickel, as opposed to, Jones, who is a more versatile nickel, it's like now that can become, its own battle right there.
I would say this to you, kids, if this makes a whole lot more sense to you. I'm going to rank the corners. Jaylen Johnson, of course, number 1. Tyreek's the second best. Kyler's number 3. Jaylen Jones is the 4th best cornerback on the team.
Yeah.
And either one of those guys, Terrell Smith is probably a close right up under Jaylen Jones. He ain't there yet.
That's my next guy.
He ain't there quite yet. He's getting there. He's fucking getting there, but I wouldn't put him in the slot. Whereas I would put Jaylen Jones in the slot. I think he's got the versatility to play that. I think somewhere down the line they'll start messing around and experimenting with Terrell Smith in the slot to see how well you can take to it. But typically bigger corners don't fare well as a slot.
Safety
I think he's the 4th best corner on this team, and he's a lock to make this motherfucker unless he gets traded.
Well, if that value is there, but now also got to ask about who also had a good game in that room that we haven't even spoke on, Quindell Johnson.
That's a safety. We ain't talked about that a lot.
Well, yeah, we haven't gotten to the safeties yet, but we're getting back that way.
You want to kick it off?
But another corner would be Strowman.
Strowman, right. And so there's still time for them to show. I mean, they still got 2 more. Well, cuts are going to be starting to take place, but they got 2 more preseason games and those practices to show. So that's going to work itself out. And Strowman, I think he's getting pushed down on that cornerback, under Jones, under.
He plays well though, man. I don't have any kind of reason why I would say Strowman doesn't somehow make this team.
But there's only so many can make it.
That's it. That's the only factor.
I think right now Blackwell is the odd man out, and unless like Reddy Stewart has got the next couple of games to put the crosshairs on Blackwell. He can make Blackwell expendable in these next 2 games.
I want to answer Tripp's question real quick. Well, kind of a question. The Bears' last game is against Kansas City on the 22nd, and cut is the 27th. So that gives them 5 days after their last game. I think they're doing all the cuts in one day.
Yeah, it's a 90-day.
Before y'all go, Illy Jones just made a hell of a point. That's one of the next things. I got so many things I want to talk about, and we already been here almost 2 hours now. But fucking Hicks stood out on tape too. Hicks improved greatly.
Elijah Hicks.
They only do before we get to Hicks, they only doing 1 cut day?
Yep.
Yeah, they got 1 big cut. They'll be making little cuts in the next between the next here and the last game.
Well, I thought they had to get down to like 70 and to get down to like 60.
That used to be.
No, they go straight from 90 to 53 now.
Oh, shit. Oh, God. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of unhappy, unemployed people that day.
Goddamn red wedding.
The upside is that everybody's on the market suddenly. So everybody has access to everybody on the market one time. You know what I mean? So there's
you can build your practice squad up.
Yeah.
Wow. This will definitely be the toughest, tightest cut down they ever had to do since joining this since the front office got here and these coaches got
Yes.
here. This is going to be tough. It's going to be tight. And you're going to have to do some things, unfortunately, that you ain't going to like doing. And you're going to end up putting some really good players out there on the market to get scooped up. You know, the beautiful thing about that is other teams will have to do that too. You know, loaded teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles, teams like that's been steady building through the draft for years and years. I have to do that too. And so you won't be the only one. You know what I mean? But it's going to be some good players that get cut. That cornerback room is one of those places that's going to leave some bruises and marks, man.
All right, so now that leads us into Hicks, who's been showing up nicely. He was developed after he was that guy doing push-ups on the porch, on the deck out there when he got drafted. You know, first Hall of Fame game, he was all over the field. It's like, oh, dude, number 22. Oh, shit, number 22. It's like, okay. Special teams, oh, number 22. All right. And now he's still, following up that performance. So I think, he's getting comfortable. He's playing. He looks angry when he plays. He's not thinking. He looks more comfortable. Now, he still will get burned, but, it happens. But then you look at the safety room and the competition around him with the Quindell Johnson. Then you got the old head vet that we brought in. We know he's good. And then who is that? Adrian Colbert. And, and so, it's going to be a battle in the safety room.
You're forgetting another guy, that Tavarius Moore.
Tavarius Moore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Jonathan, don't call him Mr. Biles Owens, backing up Brisker.
He going to make it.
Yeah. Who's going to make it?
Hicks is going to beat out. I think Hicks is going to beat out a couple of safeties. Like, what was the guy? Damn. You mentioned him, Trips, at the very beginning. I can't
Quindell?
Johnson. He's going to beat out Johnson. He's going to beat out Tavarius Moore. He's going to beat those guys, man. I'm going to tell you, number one, because he's got the system experience. They done spent a couple years developing this guy and poured into him. What did we just say yesterday, Keds and Trips? They have a tendency, the guy that they pick up and draft, they'll pour into them to a fault sometimes and give them those extra opportunities. I'm seeing improvement like a motherfucker. And so I think he can beat out, if he keeps sticking out to me like he's doing now on tape, I think they keep him.
Yeah.
When did they?
They drafted him last year, right? He was a rookie last year.
Who, Hicks? No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
He's a couple years in.
Elijah Hicks is safe, bro.
And remember when we were saying when we drafted him, well, he's a developmental piece, just like Don Robb. Now we're seeing them making plays out there. It's still early, but they're not like, oh, we drafted that guy, whatever happened to him. It's like, oh, there's that guy right there, several times over. So, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, Hicks is safe, man. They drafted him. I
don't know about safe, but I think he's making a damn good case.
If Ryan Poles put draft capital into Elijah Hicks, then he's safe. I'll just put it out there right now. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think the other spots are kind of full. You got John Owens, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker. He's the next guy. I think maybe they add. I wouldn't even think they added any one of these other guys.
I would just like to see that cat. That's one thing nobody on this panel can probably tell me. Can you think of one freaking time where you see the ball end up in Hicks's hands?
It's been so limited reps that
he's
really been up.
Yeah, he's backing up Jaquan Brisker, right? Like Jaquan Brisker is going to be on the field unless he can't be on the field.
Well, that happens.
It does happen. That's why I said it the way that I said it. Yeah. It sometimes happens, and in those scenarios, then you do have Hicks. I think Hicks can do the job. I also think that Kevin Byard can do the job too. So I don't know what they want to do. They could literally slide Kevin Byard over as the replacement Jaquan Brisker in that situation and use either Hicks or Owens. I think they're really solid, just secondary across the board. I know we're zeroing in on the safety position right now, but
okay, I got a question for everybody. who do you, because of how you just said it a minute ago, Keds, if it's a choice between a person that you draft 2 or 3 years ago and been developing them and a free agent you just signed this past free agency, who do you stick with? Because you invest money in one guy and you invest drop or cap in another one a couple of years ago. If they're running neck and neck, which one do you keep or which one you let go?
Well, you got to pay either one. You want to invest within your. You want to nurture your investment.
Shit, yeah. You
Well,
gotta
okay,
you gotta
but-
look at it this way, Brian.
Are you going to have dead cap?
Say what?
You gotta look at it this way, Brian. You gotta look at the organization as you know what it was with the previous GM here and what they're trying to do now. And it's a difference between somebody going to the store and somebody actually plowing and tilling the land, planting seeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And going from seed to flower, you know, as opposed to going to the store and get the plant already grown and put it in your fucking yard.
You don't want to buy lettuce every week at the grocery store. You can grow your own lettuce and have lettuce for the rest of your life.
You don't want to sign Yannick Ngakoue if you can make a Don Rob at home.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying, to make this more, all right, if you got Hicks, who you drafted, this will be his third year, and you signed Moore this past year, who was a third-round pick. Hicks was a seventh-round pick. If they're running neck and neck, which one is it that, you know, you keep and which one do you let go? You already sunk the money in Moore, signing him this year. You've already, you know, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, however you want to word it, invest your draft. So which would be the one that you would let go? I mean, would it be age? Or, I mean, how would you do that?
So the answer to that, it has to do with the way the contracts mature. You have 4 years to develop a player, period. That's what you have. At that time,
right.
you have to pay them or not pay them, right? That's
if you keep Hicks, then Moore, who you sign as a draft pick, do you eat dead cap for that?
You don't eat dead cap on a UFDA. You can pay a UFDA for the season, for one season, and decide.
He was a free agent. He wasn't an undrafted player. He was a free agent because he played for the Niners.
Who are you talking about here?
Tavarius Moore. Yeah.
I just got to tell you, man.
I'm
glad you're talking about this because that's something I know y'all probably gonna be like, man, no man, what the fuck you talking about? What do you mean? But I was looking at Elijah Hicks's eyes and his energy, and sometimes you can sense something about somebody. And I don't know if it's you know, he's feeling the pressure that they brought all these players in to see if they can beat him out and to give him competition. But I'm telling you right now, I see something changed in Elijah Hicks that I didn't see when he first got there. I saw a whole lot of hesitation, a lot of reservation, a lot of confusion out there in coverage, getting beat over the top, not knowing where he should be. I see a whole lot more decisive guy, a whole lot more determined, and you can see the pro in him now. And you can see, I just don't know how to describe it, but it's different than the guy that we had for the last couple of years.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing up Moore is, like I said, one, he is a free agent that they signed, played for the Niners. He also has like 4.3 speed. And if you remember yesterday, he was back on punt return.
I'm just
Well,
I'm just noticing stuff, man. I'm just pointing it out.
Well, I mean,
we're gonna see how
versatility.
we're gonna see how it
money
plays.
into Travis Moore as a free agent. It's really up to them as to whether they like. Right now, they're in surplus, right? So they've got about $21 million of budget that they could spend for the season. So it's not really a major situation as to whether they lose a couple $1 million on a player or not. It's not the end of the world. At this point, it's truly like these are great problems to have. When the problem is actually who's really the best 4 or 5 guys we need in that room?
Mhm.
Legit. That's the question. That's the best question to have. Like
And you
that's
know what, Des, to add to that, I don't think people realize like the more time you spend with a guy, really investing in him, giving him those opportunities, the more sense of he knows what the fuck he's doing in the system, and he doesn't have to go check with, go over here and check with Kevin Byard or go back up to Tremaine Edmonds and say, hey man, exactly what we're doing here. You don't have any questions. In fact, when you get to a point where you can kind of bark out, hey, to make sure everybody's in their right spot. That's why you spend the time and invest in those guys so that year 2, 3, you start to see those changes in the individual. And I'm just telling you something I noticed. How much of a difference it's going to make, I don't know, but I can see a different player than it was when we first got that guy in his first couple of years. I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if he keeps flashing for the remainder of this preseason.
Well, but now remember, everybody, just think about it in your own personal experience. Let's say, you start a new job, you're making burgers, and it's like you got this whole restaurant menu. It's like,
coming on the show, somehow I'm hungry. I swear I ate before the show, but sorry, continue on.
What goes on what sandwich, and how much of this and what ingredients that, in your first few days, it's like you're looking at your cheat sheet, and it's like, all right, this gets that, this gets that. By your third year, it's like you're not looking at a cheat sheet, you're just throwing shit on there because you know what goes there.
I give you enough time, you're gonna get good at your fucking job, ain't you?
Exactly, and that's what it looks like Hicks has done, along with Don Robb and some others. They're developing. They're like, okay, I know how to play this game. Now I know how to play the game at this speed and at this, intelligence level necessary, to be a professional. And he's like 22, knows how to make tackles. He knows how to get coverage. Will he get beat? Yeah, but everybody gets beat. And he has that drive and determination and that dog in him to Hit's philosophy, if you will, and to just keep going and going and going. And he has the versatility, to play up close and back far. So the development and the time and effort put into his development is starting to show those fruits, those rewards.
Trips, you know what? That guy never ever lacked for confidence. You know what I was worried about?
Because he's like that. Like that.
He wasn't built to play safety. He was a light guy.
Yeah,
he was very, very light in the ass when he got here. And I could literally take you back to some film. If I could, I'd show you guys. He was making tackles and it was hurting him. The back gets loose in the open field. These are NFL backs. All of them are thoroughbreds. And he's got to man him up. He's got to man him up and hit that motherfucker square in his shit. And it fucking hurt him. He was going off the field, and sometimes he wasn't going off the field. He was just hurting in there, waiting for the next play to happen and hoping that tackle didn't have to get made again. But you can look at him now and see how much he's built his body too. And
well, he's in there with Braxton Jones hitting those weights.
Yeah, you can see the difference in his body too. And so that's giving him a lot more confidence. When he has to go in that hole and stamp a motherfucker, he ain't thinking twice about it. He can wrap up and make that tackle. You know what I mean? But when your body doesn't have the armor on it in order for you to do it, that fucking shit hurts. I don't know how many people need to be told that, but that shit fucking hurts. When you're undersized, hitting thoroughbred running backs in the leg, the strongest, the biggest and strongest muscles on their bodies. With all that torque, it fucking hurts. And I could see that in him. But you can see, I'm telling you, he's a different player. He's not the same Elijah Hicks we drafted. Those couple of years of development has done him well. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, one more room that's getting tougher and tougher to get into, man. Honest to God, this scouting team has its work cut out for him. Ryan Poles has his work cut out for him. I don't know how they get through all this, but the most positive thing about, I know we're talking about the defensive side again right now, but I'm flipping to offense. Most positive thing is just that You know, there's so many weapons around Caleb. Like, there's so many. Who do you? I was asking the question about double teams, and I brought it up on the defense before. Who do you double team on the other side? How do you spy Caleb Williams, man? You spy him? You just let somebody open, and that guy's likely a 1,300 receiver. Oh man, I'm so like I have to laugh just thinking about it. It's kind of funny, or he's a first round top 10 draft pick, or top running back in the league. Like this, we've got a great situation that we're walking into, and I think DJ Moore said it best when he said "sky's the limit," because I think the sky actually is. And it's been a long time. It's taken a long bloody time to get here. But let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's be Bears fans.
I don't know how we got.
Let's be Bears fans. Hold on, bro. Let's be Bears fans before everybody's heart explodes, right? Let's be Bears fans and take this thing slow.
I don't know how we went from Hicks to Caleb Williams, but I'll take it.
I want to add a little something to what Ked's just said. Is I don't remember the past 2 games if Gerald Everett has played.
He's played.
I didn't see him.
He's been out there. He was out there.
And the reason why I'm saying, and then I'll go back to defense, is the other tight ends have been playing well. That
thank you, Brian. Thank you, bro.
Sweeney, what's that kid from Kentucky?
Sweeney and Carlson were playing lights out, bro.
Yeah. He was out there. They're hiding all their pieces.
That makes me think.
You might have
really a need to keep Lewis.
What's that?
Is there a need to keep Lewis? I mean, he's a hell of
he ain't going nowhere. You know how hard it was to get. He could have went wherever any of the Green Bay Packers coaches are and stayed in the system. He ain't going no fucking way. I promise you that.
He's the blocking tight end for this team. They want him
kind
back.
They
paid for him. Say that again?
I said that's kind of my Moore versus Hicks comment earlier.
So who did they draft in the tight end room? They didn't
draft, but Carlson's been a couple of years, so that's 2 years worth of investment. Sweeney is just this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't.
If either one of them could block, one of them was going to like if either one of them could block, Mercedes Lewis probably wouldn't have been on the team, right? It's sort of a special thing that he can do. He's got a specific wheelhouse that
I think you just said. I think you said the whole ass truth. There's only one Mercedes Lewis in the league.
That's it. He does what he does real like Wolverine. You know what I mean? He's the best at what he does.
You know that tight end, not the tight end. It's a tight end. He's a fullback, but the Ravens had a guy number 40. I'm thinking about. Juszczyk is another. He's a one-on-one, and that guy that the Ravens had for a long time, man, he's a one-on-one too. Mercedes Lewis is a one-on-one. You get a guy like him, and you know what you have. Yeah. It's like having an extra offensive lineman. That's his best utility.
That's what it is. If you need more protection for Caleb Williams in his rookie season, you don't want to cut him for Sweeney or Carlson.
No.
Sweeney's the practice squad. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
But now, a comment also that kind of goes along these lines. We're all over the team now. But Illinois Jones was saying he was really impressed with the rookies, and he specifically mentioned Caleb Williams and Booker. But it's like, give some love to the goddamn punter who was doing nicely. And then I'm going to double down on saying I'm making a call right now. If I had to make the decision just, based on this sample size, obviously there will be more repetitions, hopefully. But I'm taking Wheeler over Herbert.
All right. How about this, man? Because there's a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of intrigue going on, and we got a couple of games. Let me say this, man, and we'll get ready to go around the horn, man. We've been on here 2 hours and 10 minutes, and we did our part to make sure you guys got extra content, and we emptied out the tank in the chat. Everybody got to speak their minds, and we responded to quite a bit of what everybody had to say in there. So that's why you get yourself a membership, because it's worth it. How many people are sitting here? And we'd go 3 hours if I felt like that. I'm just talking. I'm talking for myself. I could go 3 hours if I felt like the chat didn't empty out and didn't get all their comments out there and heard and spoken to. Some great comments in the show, man. And I was glad to respond to them all. We were glad to respond to them all. But that's why you grab yourself a membership, because we go above and beyond in that department to make sure we give you guys extra content, because the energy is live as fuck in Bears Nation right now. It is live. And so, I'm glad to see everybody coming back and being a fan of the team and not being all divisive. That part, I think that chapter, I think you can close that part of the book. Put that shit over to your left. Let's move forward and go right, with this book, because we got a whole big-ass story to write. A whole big-ass story to write, and it's a whole lot of pieces to put in that book. And we're going to talk about them as we go. But with that being said, let me pass it on to the Canuck for some pleasantries before we get ready to get out of here.
Well, all right, fine. You know what? Good chopping it up with all you guys. I think we've got, a fantastic crew moving forward in here on the Chicago Bears team on both sides of the ball. I think Ryan Poles has really diced up some craziness here that all we can do at this point, realistically, just keep our fingers crossed and hope that it all works the way that we all actually envision it working. And so far, so good, right? Couple more preseason games. If things continue to look like this, as they give the offense more snaps, gives the first team more snaps, 3 quarters in, if things still look very similar, guys, we might have a really heavily improved football team on both sides. I believe Ryan Poles has finally brought balance to the Chicago Bears, and that's really what I think we've always been looking for. We've been a one-dimensional team for 20-plus years. Balance.
Ryan Poles has developing and addressing both sides of the ball simultaneously, being smart with free agency spending and contract retentions and draft picks and trades and negotiations. He's very shrewd. He's very prudent. He's very patient. He's out there doing this thing, getting them steps in, dropping them pounds. Nothing but respect for him. Big up to all the Nomaniacs. Thanks for having me here at Nomad at Night. Follow me on the YouTube and all the social medias at Sports Chicago Style and the .com. Oh, and I want to, for any hip hop heads out there,
Chino Excel.
We recently lost Chino Excel, a great MC out there from the West Coast. And dedicated hip hop mix show mixed live by DJ Third Rail, all original vinyl from Northwestern University in Evanston there, 89.3 on the FM dial in the Chicagoland listening area, and online at WNUR.org tonight at midnight Central Time till 5 in the morning. It's all interrupted, commercial free, straight vinyl, zigga on the turntables with just Excel.
Type it in the chat when you get done.
Okay, with all original vinyl guest appearances, remixes, and all that fun stuff. So, tune in if you're, a head like that and want to hear some good music. So big up all y'all, and I'll see you on the interwebs.
All right, before I throw it to you, Brian, let me just give the Nomaniacs a little bit of love, or you can help me by all means. Shout out a couple of heads as I'm going through. But McFact, Mr. Mayhem, the Nodge, Cornelius Squalls is with us here today. Left Hand, Katrina, I gave you a little bit of love / hate today to Katrina, but hopefully I was able to raise your spirits about the situation. I think we're headed for 5 years of real dominant Chicago Bears football. That's where I think we're headed, and it's just the beginning of that. Joseph Belinsky, Sean Rogers, Illinois Jones, Illy
Bearsky.
Me, Bearski, what's up, Paulie? What's up? Oh, PJ was in the mix. Adam Mason was in the mix today. Shout out to both of you. No love to Don Burr.
Cornelius.
The Bears 85. Yeah, Cornelius Squalls is with us. At Mas, Hendricks, the Shy, who I never say. What's up, the Shy? I always miss the Shy. Mark Wallace, man. Jigsaw was out there with us today. Kerry Franklin. Man, yo, packed house, great chopping it up across the board. Lots of insight. Mr. B, on to you and No Maniacs. Mad love. On to the next one in Cincinnati.
Once again, thanks, No Maniacs, for coming in on a Sunday night and sharing your time. We always enjoy putting these podcasts together. It's a lot of fun. And, we're nothing without you guys. Always like hearing you guys' input. Always like chatting with you guys, and the same with the guys on the panel. You guys are all my Bears brethrens, or a few of you are sisterins too. To get with polls, yes, in my time of being a fan, this is one of the most balanced offense and defense and young that I've seen the Bears team in quite a while. And I think he's been systematically, I'm trying to use those $5 college words, even though I'm a GED grad, to where he's building. Like I said, I would like to get another defensive lineman. So this team goes from a top 5 to elite, top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is it necessary? Probably not. Again, I like to see the first 7 weeks, what the record is before I waste that time. If I was going to pick which that I wanted to improve the more, I would still go with the offensive line. That could possibly be there. Like I said at the beginning, if you have an open mind and you watch the past 2 games, the 2 coaches that they've added, 2 coordinators, I should say, that's the most important acquisitions. The draft and the few free agents that they sign, those are important too. But the coordinators, I think, is what's going to put this team on the hump and over the hump, and make it to where a solid playoff team. I'm not talking just wild card. You got to admit the NFC North is probably the toughest division in football. And I think the Bears are heading in the right direction. And if you're a Bears fans, I don't know how you can't be happy. Is it perfect? Hell no. But go back and watch any game from yesterday. And are those teams perfect? No. So I'm glad the Civil War is over with. I like being, you can have a little bit of banter without being mean, and the Civil War was mean, a waste of time. That was a black eye in the Bears fan history. That's over with now. Let's, be positive, respectful for one another, regardless what player you like, cheer for, cheer as a team. You can still have your favorite player, but overall as a team. If you guys hadn't hit the like button, hadn't subscribed, hadn't signed up, please do it now or on the way out. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful week. Look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Take it away, Nomad.
I shall do, and thank you guys for everything. Trips, don't you ever say thank you for allowing you to come to the Nomad Network. You my brother, and you welcome here anytime you want to. You family, you my bro here. You should be here all the time, man, but I know you got your shit to do, and you should be here, but we'll leave that alone because normally when I go close, I'm usually going to give you something really, really positive. And I'm going to do the same thing today. And I'm going to make this Bear-centric, though, because I emphasize this when I'm about to tell you guys, because you guys don't get to look at me and I'm not a visual person on this podcast, I have to go above and beyond to show you guys what kind of person I am. And, the core me, who I am, like the first thing I ever loved was football. Before I ever loved a girl, before I ever loved anybody, it was football. This shit is in my bones. I'm obsessive about it. When I wasn't playing it, I was probably studying it or watching it. And since I stopped playing it, nothing much has changed. And so I'm obsessive about it right now. And when you have that much football in your system, there are times when you can have a sense for something, your average ordinary football fan may or may not. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. And that is the sense I'm getting is probably a lot of what you guys are feeling right now, feeling extra excited, extra motivated about this season, and you're just feeling good about it because of some of the things you've seen recently. And what I can tell you is you have every right to feel that way, and you should feel that way. In fact, I think it's a lot of people out here tempering their expectations, kind of measuring their commentary to try to give themselves a little bit of leeway or a little bit of out just in case things don't go that way. I'm tired of people being punked out like that as Bears fans. You don't have to feel that way. You should feel very fucking encouraged and go out there and lean into your team like I'm going to do right now. I think we have a team to be reckoned with, not next year, not 2-3 fucking years from now. I'm talking about right the fuck now. They've got some pieces I can measurably tell you that are going to be a problem offensively. I know what we can do defensively. I'm telling you, offensively, that fucking snowball is going to be going downhill. We've got the pieces there. Flus has said it. And you heard him in the 1920s show. The 1920s, I forgot, the football drive. He told his team, the coach doesn't get up there and do all that rah-rah shit and not mean it. He told them we have everything in this building to win. I repeat that. The head coach told his team that we have everything in this building to win. Here's a conundrum. Can you get the players to buy into that? I saw absolute kinetic energy when I watched this team play. I watched it on the sidelines. I watched it on the field. I'm looking at the coaches. I'm looking at the assistants. I'm telling you, there's every reason to be motivated about this team. I'm telling you. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm telling you, they lack for nothing as of right now. Maybe a piece or two on the offensive line and in the interior of the defense. I don't know. That's for the coaches to determine. We are on the outside looking in at it. They see a whole lot more up close and personal when they're dealing with these guys on one-on-one basis, 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, when they're thudding inside and the media isn't there. That's when most of the football stuff is happening. When the media isn't there and can't report out all the shit they're seeing. So these guys have tricks up their sleeves. They've got players in positions that they have a plan for. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised this year. And if you ever want to be a Bears fan and be happy about your team, the time is now. I think this general manager has spent his time and put this plan together, and it's actually starting to manifest itself. It's my famous word, manifesting itself. Ryan Poles is doing that shit. Eberflus is backing him up, and Eric Washington and all these coaches on the team are backing it up. The time is now. It ain't next year, the year after that. Fuck that shit. It ain't. It's right now. And don't be scared to lean into it. I don't care if it's Chicago and we don't have a history of, okay. No, dude, you got to let that go. Yesterday was yesterday. We got an opportunity now. All you got to do is lean into it as a fan base and give them the energy that they need. If they think you believe and they sense that, when you're out on the field and you feel that crowd starting to mushroom around you and they're giving you that energy, they fucking know you're there and they're going to give you a little something extra. And that's what you need. You need those guys to go above and beyond and to get you over those humps. tight games, third and distance, getting out of jams, giving the ball back to the quarterback, giving him an opportunity. If the fans give what I know they can to this team is going to overperform with a rookie quarterback. I can promise you. All you got to do if you got tickets to these games is go in there and be a fan. Don't be hypercritical. Just be a fan when it's time to be a fan. And I think we'll start seeing the results that we want. I just want to say that I'm extra motivated for this season because I think we're going to be a real threat to the NFL as this quarterback starts to get his real NFL legs up under him. We got a little small sliver of what he can look like, but he's going to build on that performance and build on the next performance and the next one. So by week 4, week 5, he's not going to look. Maybe I'll lean more into week 6 or 7, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think we have the defense to keep us with a positive record, and so that when we get to that 6th or 7th week, this dude has a chance to really take it to the next level and really expound on what we have going on. So I'm telling you right now, I see some really good things. My antennas are up, and it's fucking lightning going in between them because that's how I feel about this shit. It's a really good feeling. And so I just wanted to say that to everybody before we got out of here and to make sure that everybody understands that we only ask you to become a member because we need membership. Why? Is it because we're missing pieces in our performance, in our ability to be able to put out content and to be able to do extra things for the people that have been down with the Nomad Network since day one. I would love to be able to give these guys money for their time and effort and to bring on new people to do other things. We got some loyal people that's with us, and I love them. I really love these guys as my brothers, man. I do. But we need more. This is not enough. We need more of you guys to help us out and just help a good network grow, man. That's what it's all about. And so we just ask, and we'll show and prove to you what your $5 did for that. It's worth something to us. I just wanted to say that before we get out of here. But I got to close with these famous words and this is to the Bears. This is an ode to the Bears. If you think the Bears could be great this year, see it. If you think the Bears could be great this year, see it with your vision. See it with your vision. And if you believe it in your heart and you can see it, you can fucking manifest it for this team. Think it, see it, manifest it. And we'll be knocking on doors, not just knocking, we'll be knocking those motherfuckers down. That being said, think, see, manifest, and we are out. What happened to Nick? Hold on.
Live TV, folks.
That's messed up, Nick.
Work.